So then guys, we've already had leaks in for the next generation of the MacBook Air with an M5 chip coming inside of it, and also, I want to tell you about leaks and rumors of what we've been hearing about getting an OLED display also being added to the likes of the MacBook Air and everything around that. But first of all, let's just quickly talk about where we are currently with the MacBook Air. Well, the MacBook Air in its current design was introduced in 2022 with the M2 chipset put inside of it. And this was a 13.6-inch model. But a year later, we got a larger version of this. This is a 15.3-inch version of this MacBook Air with the larger display, but it had the M2. But the year after that, what we actually got is we got the M3 put in both of these designs of the MacBook Air. But then this year in 2024, we got the M4 put in both of these sizes, and we also got a brand new color of the sky blue put inside of it too. And this is absolutely incredible. The MacBook Air is a fantastic device, giving us MagSafe, also giving us Thunderbolt 4 capability with 2 USB-C ports on the side, and it is one of the best selling MacBooks out there right now. And to pick up one of these MacBook Airs, in some cases you can even pick it up between $800 to $850 with the M4 inside of it, 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabyte storage. And it is a great buy, and it's a fantastic device out there. So the next question is, what about the next generation of the MacBook Air? What kind of upgrades are we going to be seeing there? So the first question you're going to be asking is, will we be getting a new design on the MacBook Air for the M5 series? Well, I'm going to tell you now, the sad news is, unlikely. We only had, remember, 3 generations of the current MacBook Air design, and normally Apple likes to do at least about, say, 5 generations. So we've got at least a couple more generations before Apple decide to upgrade or retire the design that we have right now. So the design that you have with the MacBook Air is staying exactly the same for at least the M5 series. But the changes that are going to come with that is mainly that M5 chip inside the MacBook Air for next generation. What we've been told is that more than likely this new M5 is going to be even more efficient than the previous M4, and obviously give us a bit more performance too. And on average with that, we're looking overall for GPU, CPU, NPU as altogether around about a 25% gain in kind of power, what we're going to get in performance wise. Now, more than likely, the actual chip in its setup in how many cores it will have inside of it, we are probably going to be still getting inside of it a 10-core CPU. And this is made up of 6 efficiency cores and also 4 performance cores. Remember, that is up to. So there could be a binned version like Apple have done in the past with this M5 chip. But what could be changing is the GPU. Now, the GPU got upgraded from 8 GPU cores to 10 GPU cores, or up to 10 GPU cores with the M2 series. And we haven't had any more additional cores added to the GPU since then. So the M3, the M4 all have had 10 core GPUs. So what could be happening this time around? We could actually get an upgrade up to 12 GPU cores this time round with the M5. And remember, this would be up to, so I'm sure there'd be a bin down version as well of the GPU cores. But this does sound really exciting that Apple are going to be doing this, but more than likely everything else is probably going to stay the same with RAM amount. So this would still be offering of 16 gigabytes of RAM, 24 and a 32 gigabyte option, because obviously Apple have made it mainstream that 16 is the minimum when they went halfway through the life of their MacBook Air with the M3 for 16 gig there. So don't expect that going up to 24 as the minimum. But another area where Apple could actually change things is make the storage minimum going up one more tier. Right now it's 256 gigabytes of storage, and again, this has been the baseline amount of storage for a good number of years and generations now. So it makes sense for Apple to up this to the next tier, what is 512 gigabytes of storage as the baseline. So we're really, really hoping that does come available in the next generation of the MacBook Air. The only other changes that we could see, but it's going to be unlikely, is all to do with the actual displays, but I'll tell you about that in just a moment. So then guys, just quickly, I want to tell you about this right here. This here is the MelGeek O2 mechanical keyboard. For me, my favorite features about this keyboard has got to be the actual design of it. What continues Apple's iconic transparent elements and rounded R corner designs across generations and has been put into this O2 keyboard. And then also you've got a proprietary zero-link transmission protocol for ultra-low latency typing experience. And when you're typing on this keyboard, it just feels so right with the gasket structure paired with custom Chaos Sunlight switches. As you can tell, I'm connected via Bluetooth to use this keyboard, and it works just great. There's even magnetic footrests on the back here, what you can actually detach and then actually increase your angle up to 5 degrees from 3.5 degrees. And there's even this switch here on the top to switch from a 2.4 gigahertz connection to Bluetooth, and you can even use USB-C if you want to use that too. Even if you have, say, the smallest MacBook out there, the MacBook Air, you can actually overlay your keyboard on top of your current MacBook keyboard, and then you can actually use it, as you can see right here, and it doesn't actually press any of the keys underneath. This is absolutely amazing. Like I said, this keyboard has been specially made for Macs, so much so that the function buttons at the top, they're all designed exactly the same like a MacBook keyboard. So you can use all the function buttons like changing, say, your actual brightness. You can turn on Do Not Disturb on and off and again, and you can also change around, say, your volume too. And this is really awesome and really handy to have. And something what I also like is that all the keys are actually mirrored to exactly like a Mac keyboard. So all the keys are in the exact right locations where you want them to be. But say if you actually want to use this with a Windows computer, well, you can actually change out the keys too, what is really, really awesome. And then, best of all for me, I find this keyboard super lightweight, and because it's a mechanical keyboard, it has that amazing feeling of when you're actually typing on it, compared to, say, a standard sort of MacBook kind of keyboard out there. This just feels amazing, and it's super lightweight to take around with you too. And if you want to check out the MelGeek O2, well, make sure you check out all the details that are in the description of this video, because this is definitely the best mechanical keyboard I have ever used on my Mac. So moving on then, what about the display technology inside of the MacBook Air? What is going on there? Are we going to get an OLED display anytime soon? Well, I hate to disappoint it, it's not going to come in the M5 series. You remember earlier in the video I told you that we're going to have to wait at least to say, 5 years has passed or 5 generations of using the MacBook Air in its current design before Apple decides to redesign it? Well, it's probably going to be after that time. That's when we'll get, say, a new type of screen inside of it. And we've had a leak right in here from the elect who's actually told us we're not going to get probably an OLED straight away. What we're probably actually going to get is an oxide TFT screen. So mini LED TFT oxide screen. It's a new type of technology, what would be a brighter screen out there. And this is probably going to come first before OLED. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to get OLED straight away. This would probably be the first thing to be put in it. However, we've been told a couple of years later after that, that is when OLED would be introduced into the MacBook Air. And how far away will that be? Well, I hate to say this, it's looking towards being 2029. So we're talking 4 years away. But more likely that design, like I said, when we're going to get that refresh design of the MacBook Air, this would actually be keeping that screen, that design, and get that OLED inside. It probably won't be a new design again. Remember, Apple have done this in the past where they've kept the design and changed the screen. Take the iPad Pro. We did have an LED display when we had the one that had the A12X and the A12Z inside of it. Do you remember that came out in 2018? But then when we got to the M1 iPad Pro, we had that mini LED display put inside of it. And it was the exact same shape. So this is what probably Apple are going to do that oxide TFT display, followed by an OLED display after that. But one thing I would also say is that more than likely that this next generation or new design of the MacBook Air is probably going to get ProMotion when it comes out in 2027 with that oxide screen, and then this would follow into that OLED display when we get it in 2029. So if you are desperate to get a ProMotion display, you're going to have to wait out a couple more generations, probably more like the M7 series to actually get that. So for the M5 series, probably not. It's just going to be a minor upgrade this time in actually, inside with just the chip, maybe a bit more storage, but the overall design, everything else is going to stay exactly the same. But really, guys, that is the latest and greatest we have on the MacBook Air. And, if there is any more news coming in for it, I'll be letting you guys know. And with that as well, so it's time to wrap up the video. So if you enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. As always, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews, and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.